Welcome, everybody. Good evening. We're about, I don't know, an hour or so away from the final presidential debate, and wanted to talk with you guys about what you didn't hear in the news today. So this segment is what you aren't being told by the mainstream media. We are America's New Clothes. I am Derek. Thanks for joining in again tonight. So a couple of things that is going, I guess, unnoticed or untalked about, obviously, in the mainstream media, being the first, obviously, being that Hunter Biden and the Joe Biden emails going back and forth. You had Hunter Biden's business partner today, going public saying, these are my emails. I can vouch for them. He released his emails as well for everyone to look at. Tony Bobulinski, I think is his name, how you pronounce it. There's even word he may be the guest visitor with Donald Trump tonight at the debate. So that'll be interesting to see how that all works out. But nevertheless, you're seeing the mainstream media avoid covering this at all costs. NPR actually came out today and said that they're not covering the Hunter Biden story because they claim it is pure distraction and is not really a story. They go on to say, can we finally once and for all pull their payer funding as well? I think we should. So they're saying pure distraction is not really a story. From what I'm hearing, this is the first inning of a 9-inning ball game. So we will see how much this all plays out in the coming days. I'm assuming they probably didn't want to let out too much today, just because it would take away from the debate. But the story that did come out is pretty damning. When they're saying save 10 for the big guy, obviously, and some of these things happen post Joe Biden leaving the White House or leaving the vice presidency, which is understandable. And I think you can push back and say, well, hey, he's a private citizen. He can do what he wants to do. But if the money was set up and things happened because of his, because of his name prior to him leaving office, and if these things track back even as far as 2008 to 2000, even going to his Senate days, but more importantly, when he was vice president of the United States, then this could have a huge impact, because it does show then that if he's selling access to his name, selling access to America because he's the vice president, then you have a lot of other issues there to deal with. But I'm hearing obviously Russia, Ukraine, Kazakhstan, Uzbekistan, China, obviously, even Latvia, and possibly some countries in the Middle East that he profited from as his time, from Hunter as his time being head of, I think Seneca Global is his hedge fund, and a couple other groups. Let's see, we've got Seneca Global, Rosemont Seneca was one of them, Paradigm companies that Hunter was either the founder of or chairman of, or just someone that was involved. And then Financial Times at FT.com, they went through and did a kind of a list of what each of his partnerships are called and what they did. BHR Partners, investments in China. Hunter's role, this was as of last year, was director from 2013 to the present, so through 2019, or when this article was written, which the date was October 9th, ironically, October 9th, a year ago, this week or last week. So looks like he's selling access to Joe, and Joe's having him sell access, which is not good in an addict. Him being a drug addict and have an addiction problem, being in high stress situations is obviously going to cause you to want to reach out to that crutch. That's your stress relief. That's how you get through. So in a way, Joe Biden's doing a great disservice to his child by putting him in these roles. So, but that's what you're not hearing. Big Tech's not going to allow. New York Post is still down for 8 days in a row now. They have not been able to get back up on their Twitter because they're not taking their stories down. Twitter's wanting them to take it down, apologize for what they did, basically. So what you're seeing here is this is kind of the Gestapo of the communication side, the Ministry of Truth, so to speak, and watching this all play out by Big Tech censoring this. I chatted with a couple buddies today. they didn't know what they were like. Well, what's going on? What are you talking about? I mean, they'd heard of Hunter, but what's the story? So it's not getting through, which is exactly what big tech is trying to do. It's what the mainstream media is trying to do, which is why you have NPR saying what they said. You have CNN being like, this is a non-story. I don't know why you're covering this. The presidency is about Joe Biden, not Hunter Biden. So we'll see how this plays out. We'll see how Trump brings it up tonight in the debate. The topics of the debate tonight were COVID-19, American families, race in America, climate change, national security, and leadership. He'll figure out a way to bring all of these in, or bring this topic probably into each individual topic that they discuss. So I think each candidate has 2 minutes to speak. Other candidate is muted. Then the other candidate has 2 minutes to respond while the other candidate is muted. We'll see how that plays out, especially if they then allow the back and forth. So their story here is the gaps in the polls. So the polls do seem to be closing now for those of you who do focus on national polls, which is a snapshot in time, obviously. And they can be a decent indicator. They were a horrible dictator of what the results were going to be in 2016 or what they played out being. But the most accurate was Trafalgar Group, which is a polling group they just focus on, or not just, but they mainly focus on the battleground states. So as of, I think, the 19th, most of these were either October 16th or the 19th, a couple I see on the 14th. But Wisconsin has Biden leading by 1.4. Michigan had Trump up about a half a point. Florida Trump was up just over 2. Pennsylvania, Biden was up by 2. And then let's see, Arizona, you're seeing Trump up over right at 4, exactly 4. Ohio, Trump up almost 3.5, almost 4 points. Wisconsin, Biden's up by just under 3. And Michigan has Trump up 0.7. So you are seeing some of the battleground states being pretty tight. But you are seeing Trump narrowing that gap. And what you're also seeing is that in the Rasmussen poll, you saw Trump amongst suburban women has pulled, I think, 6 to 8 points closer with suburban women. So tonight's debate will be crucial on that topic, especially if you're talking about American families, talking about race in America, and national security. So we'll see how that plays out. Most suburban women, I don't think, really care about climate change. COVID-19, yes, they want their kids back in school. I think that's actually a topic that Trump wins on. Biden's going to say, well, I said this and this and this, and Trump can say, just go to my task force and see, everything was already laid out. So you're just regurgitating, and you were a month late or 2 weeks late after we'd already put those issues out. So we'll see how he handles that. Catherine Herridge tonight broke the story on the Senate is actually requiring Hunter Biden, this goes back to Hunter, to provide all travel records, wire transfers, bank records, and account balances by tomorrow. My take on this is that his response from his legal team is going to be, one, not going to do it because it's a presidential election year. We're right. It's going to be used for politics, which is legitimate because Trump used that in his, well, I don't want to give my tax returns because it's going to be used for political folly. So I think Hunter's got a legitimate comment for that, or legitimate response for that. The second one being, they're going to say, and probably be forced to admit, well, we're under FBI investigation for money laundering, everything else. So we can't turn over the documents because it's an ongoing investigation. So I expect one of those two responses by the Biden team to be given to the Senate. So then what you're looking at is looking more at lockdowns going around the world. You're seeing Australia pick up and saying we're going to go for a more stringent lockdown. It's going to last probably 2 years, they're saying now, until a virus or a vaccine is readily available and everybody's been inoculated with it. And then 2, they're going to create a digital travel card now. So even if you're traveling from Melbourne to Sydney, just within Australia, or people coming into the country, whether it be Australian citizens or foreigners, they're going to have to show this digital card. Is the digital card going to be a microchip? Is the digital card going to be an actual card? How is that going to be done? And then you're hearing more about a digital token. I think United Airlines on their earnings call, they had mentioned that they may in the very near future require passengers to have a digital token that shows that they've been inoculated. So the push for a microchip, a push for more digitized humans, more AI involved is coming. If you listen to, and I'll probably talk about it on another show in the coming week or so, there's a doctor with an impeccable record, been on Oprah Winfrey 10 times, Dr. Oz, everybody. And she's talking about the nanoparticles that are going into an RNA virus, and that actually implants itself into your DNA and essentially turns, and they're little robots, little nanoparticles or nanobots, she says. And that's how they can hook in to you and begin to control you in the future. And so that'll be very interesting to see how that plays out. So, but those are things you probably didn't hear about in the news today. I think there was, let's see if there's anything else. Politico wrote a good article about liberals, the progressives have to get off this everything is a Russia thing, which plays into, you saw DNI's press conference last night about Iran and Russia being involved in the collection of data, pushing out this Proud Boys narrative to scare Democrats into voting for them. I don't understand what the ploy was, but I guess the Proud Boys intimidating supposedly, and it's found out to be through Iran. I still doubt it. I don't think it was Iran. I don't think that it was Russia. I think we use them as a scapegoat while we're creating a division here. But you have to look at some stuff online if you're ready to go down that rabbit hole as to all the games that are being played in the PSYOP games. But it just doesn't make any sense that Iran would. Anyway. Don't want to get into it, but nevertheless, see what else I've got here. Senate demands the Hunter turn over the records. Yeah, so I guess that's basically it for everything. We touched on the polls, the Hunter Biden aspect, and Tony Bobulinski, and the Senate demanding the records be turned over. So, going to see a lot of interesting stuff happen here in the next few days. Again, as I've heard on another show today, that we're in the first inning of a 9-inning ball game. So fully expect other things to be coming out. And yeah, so we'll be back tomorrow. I'm sure Mike and I will do an updated live stream tomorrow with regards to debate response. So look for us there. Again, follow us on America's New Clothes on Twitter, on Facebook, Instagram, obviously on YouTube as well. Like our page, share it if you're informed and like the content. Feel free to make comments on our pages as well with regards to the topics that you may want to be informed on, or maybe just want to have a further discussion on as well. So thanks for tuning in, and have a good evening. We'll talk to you.